It's the Camosun College Student Society, and Jan Gottfried was the elected president. This was the very first self-governing society.
Well, how long were they around for, Ornella?
Well, they lasted until about 1979, until they disbanded.
And then what happened?
Well, apparently they just ran out of money. Michael Scott, which was the elected president at the time, found out that the society had been conned by an ad salesman. Apparently the society just owed too much money, so they had to fold. After that happened, Ed Wagner, the director of student services, started the Student Activity Advisory Committee.
So it wasn't independent anymore?
No, they were directly responsible to the college, and they couldn't do anything without the college's approval. The next time a society was formed was in 1985, when the students formed the Tri-Campus Council. This was where there was a student council at all three campuses, and there was an overall council. That lasted for a few years until it folded too because of low student interest.
Well, the new student council sure has its work cut out for it. James Gray was the first president, and he's got things rolling back in '89. They have a president, a vice president for each campus. They also have a vice president for finance and one for services.
You forgot they have a vice president academics too.
Right. And they also have 6 campus directors from Lansdowne, 2 from Cary Road, and 3 from Interurban. They hold their meetings on Monday nights at 6 p.m. in the Paul building.
Really? Can anyone go?
Oh, sure, Nella. Any student can attend, but I don't think too many people know about the Student Society. We talked to some students from all 3 campuses. Did you know this college has a Student Society?
Yeah, I knew about it. I don't know too much about it, though.
Do you think this college needs a Student Society?
Yes.
Why?
Well, to take care of our interests.
Do you think this college needs a Student Society?
Yes, I do.
Why is that?
Well, because I think this college has a lot of different people, and everybody just sort of, nobody's together, and I think it would just bring the school a lot closer together. I think that's what it needs, because I think a lot of the students around here are just sort of lost.
Do you know what the Student Society is doing for you here at Cary Road?
No, I don't. What?
Did you know that you're paying 4% of your tuition towards the Student Society?
No, I didn't know that.
How do you feel about that?
I'm a bit surprised, yeah.
Are you aware that you're paying a 4% fee towards the Student Society?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah? How do you feel about that?
It's reasonable.
Yeah?
It's reasonable.
Okay.
Better than the government takes.
Do you know what the Student Society does?
No. I know what a student society is supposed to do, but I don't know. When the elections were going on, I mean, I hadn't even seen any of the candidates or anything like that. So I know one girl, her name's Colleen, and she's the only girl I know on student society. So.
Sandy Bell took over for James Gray after his resignation. She told me she wanted to make a difference in the world, get involved with the community. That's her main reason for being on the student council. Hi, Sandy. Welcome.
Hi. Thank you.
Gina and I have, just in the past couple days, gone to all 3 campuses and done a survey about the Student Society, and we've asked students if they know what the Student Society does, but not a lot of students do. Do you think that you could tell us so that we could all know?
Certainly. First of all, let me explain, or clarify rather, that the Student Society is the association of the students at large. If you take more than one course, unless it's a community education course, you're automatically a member of the Student Society. The Student Council is the governing body of the Student Society. It's made up of 18 elected representatives. Our primary job is providing input into the government in our college, input into the decision-making process here, into how our college is governed.
Okay. Some of the students also said they thought that the Student Society dealt with things like parking and daycare and things like financial aid, and they do deal with those, don't they?
Well, student representatives deal with all the issues that concern students, basically. Parking is a controversial issue. It's a problem, and so it comes before us on a regular basis. I'm a member of the Parking Advisory Committee. There are 3 student reps on the Parking Advisory Committee, so we help try to solve the problems with parking through our representation on that committee. That's one of our functions.
Yeah. Okay, why did you get involved in the student society or a student council? Why?
I got involved because I wanted to be involved. I wanted to be part of, make a contribution of some sort to the community I live in. And I thought the school that I'm attending is a good place to do that. I've told other people I've done it out of fear a little bit because I am concerned. I'm concerned about our environment, scared. And I saw this as an opportunity to try to create some awareness and make a difference.
Yeah. What are your duties as president?
As president, I'm the chairperson of student council. I sit on about a half a dozen committees. I'm in the office 20 more hours a week, and I deal with students who come in with problems. And as president, I try to keep the executive who conduct the day-to-day affairs, along with our administrator, who's a very important person, Richard Barnett, just to try to keep everybody talking to each other and keep the group together, basically.
Do you deal with any students on a one-to-one basis?
Lots of students on a one-to-one basis. I think that's really important. If there's a student that comes to the office, mine is at Lansdowne, with a problem, usually I talk to them and try to help them out.
Yeah. What do you plan to do as president in the future, in the near future?
In the near future? Oh, there's a million things to do in the near future. Just keeping the day-to-day bureaucracy, because it is, going is, you know, keeping the paperwork happening is a priority. And I'd like to see an environmental committee formed at the college to take a whole look at our health here, the health of our environment at the college. I'd like to start work on plans for a student building on campus, a student social center. And I'd like to see we're planning another car-free day in the new year. Those are
How did that one
the short
work
term.
out? The one that you had, it was last month?
Yes. Well, we had 750 people enter the contest, but the parking lots were still basically full.
Oh, no.
Well, yes, but that's distressing on one hand, but it isn't on the other. You know, every little bit helps. If there was one person, and I know there was,
I was one.
that didn't go that day, the first first step towards solving any problem is creating awareness, and we did. Q100 carried that story. We put out a news release. They carried that story for 2 days on their news.
Great.
And it was in the Times Columns and in the other media, so the message got out there.
Yeah. Thanks, Sandy, for joining us.
Colleen Farrell is quite well known at the Cary Road campus. She makes a point of getting to know the students on a one-to-one basis. I'm here with Colleen Farrell. She is the Vice President for the Student Society at the Cary Road campus. Welcome, Colleen.
Thank you, Jena.
Colleen, what do you do as a representative for the campus?
Well, at Cary Road we have a little bit different campus than Lansdowne. More of the students are mature students. They're returning back to school, perhaps taking their upgrading to go on, to continue with their education or just go back into the workforce. Others are in the office administration, and then there's many ESL students, English second language students, foreign students. Yeah, so it's quite a bit of different atmosphere than here, radically different, a lot slower, a little more relaxed. Our office operates a little bit differently. We get students come in throughout the day and sit in the office and talk and ask for advice. I end up being a little bit of a support person. We offer them coffee at the cheapest price on campus, and that brings them into the office, and it creates an awareness of what the Student Society is and what it can do for them.
Do you feel that the Student Society is really needed at Cary Road?
It's really needed at Cary Road, and something I feel good about is that most of the students, or a lot of the students there, know me by name. They know who I am, and I make my way around the school as much as I can, and we recently got more on staff, so we're getting even more well known out there. It's a small enough campus, but the interest seems to be easier to reach people there.
Because there's less?
Yeah, because there's less students, more laid back, a little more time. I think I got an awful lot of volunteers help out. That, you know, those students are only there for 6 months at the most. Sometimes they're only there for 7 weeks in the EOW and BEST course. And they get involved. They make posters. We're putting on a special event for Christmas. We're having a children's choir come and sing in the cafeteria, that kind of thing.
So
Things
really
where they
busy.
can, and because a lot of them are parents, seems an awful lot of them are parents, we try to organize something where they can bring their children to school.
You're also on the Public Relations Committee for the Student Society. What exactly do you
Public
do there?
Relations Committee, what it was is that we saw a need in the college for the message to get out that there was a student society, and also when we do put on special events, we find that we're scrambling at the last minute to find volunteers to help us organize, like making posters or get the word out about what's going on. And the secret to success is, students having knowledge of what's going on.
At the beginning of the year, there was a welcome week down on the front lawn of the Lansdowne campus where you had a beer garden.
That's right, yeah.
And are there any other events like that you're planning?
We are hoping to come up with something in January, or, in
for the new semester.
The winter semester, yeah. It obviously won't be outside. Well, maybe we'll ski down the hill. I don't know. But that's the Public Relations Committee. Will work on that with the executive and student council and see what we can come up with.
Colleen, thanks for joining us.
Thank you for inviting me, Gina.
Rob Burrows is retiring from the Student Council and looking forward to entering the workforce. Rob was one of the initial members of the new Student Council. Hi, Rob.
Hello.
Rob, you're the former representative for the interurban campus. What made you decide to leave your position as representative?
Well, I'm taking engineering at Interurban, and we're in a co-op program, and we're up for a 6-month work term, so I had to go out and work, so I won't have time to put into the Student Society.
If you weren't doing this, would you be on council?
Yes, I would. I really enjoyed being on the council.
What did you enjoy about working with the society?
Well, I'd never done anything like that before, and I learned how things work, and how to go through, sit at meetings. I'd never been to a meeting or anything like that, or chaired a meeting, and I learned a lot from being on the Student Society.
What made you decide to get involved with it?
There was a vacancy before the Student Society as it is now started, and I took over just to keep things running in the office, and they talked me into running for the position when the Student Society elections came up, and that's basically how I got into it.
Do you feel the society is doing a good job?
Yeah, I do. The students need to be represented on a lot of the committees that we're on.
What kind of issues did you have to deal with?
Parking was one. It's ongoing. I think parking, as it is here, will always be an issue. We can never have enough parking, it seems. That and recreation committee, we're trying to push for some kind of physical fitness area. Right now, there's no facilities there for any extracurricular activities. What's going to go in, it looks really hopeful, is a jogging trail around the campus, where it's going to be a wood chip trail, and there'll be areas there for you can stop and do sit-ups and chin-ups and stuff like that.
I see. Well, thanks for joining us, Rob.
Thank you.
Special events have been hosted by the Student Council. An example is a welcome week at the Lansdowne campus. Remember that, Ornella?
Sure do. That was fun.
And a pizza day at Cary Road campus, and a patrol night at all 3 campuses.
One thing that students at all 3 campuses found really useful was the student handbook distributed by the Student Council. Annette Dutram was an important contributor to the student handbook. I'm here with Annette. Hi, Annette.
Hi there.
What is your position on the student council?
I'm vice president of Lansdowne.
Okay, and why did you get involved?
I got involved because I don't believe in remaining passive about my education. I like to be in control when it comes to the educational system, and I like to have my voice heard.
Yeah. Do you have any personal reasons why you're on the student council? Anything that you would like to change, maybe?
Yeah, there are a couple. The main one actually is trying to get the student body to be more cohesive. It seems everybody's in their own little compartments and doesn't pay much attention to what else is going on, and there's not much of a college spirit here. Yeah. So I'd like to do something about that.
What was your involvement with the student handbook?
My involvement was with the beginnings of the student handbook. It was part of the Student Society mandate to have a handbook. So I gathered together information on what should be in it and decided upon how it would look, the content, and just the style of it.
Yeah, it seemed to be a really good idea because, again, on our survey we asked about the handbooks, and a lot of people did receive one and used it fully. But how much did it cost, and who paid for it?
Well, it cost between $13,000 and $14,000, and the students themselves paid for it through their Student Society fees. It was, as I said, it was part of the mandate, so that is our only basis for income. Therefore, that's where the money came from.
How was the handbook distributed?
It was distributed during Welcome Week at all three of the campuses, and it's also still being distributed through each of the offices at the different campuses.
Were there any leftovers?
Yeah, there are still quite a few left, and because of the different intakes, there's a January intake here, and so we hope a lot of students that come will be able to get their handbook as well.
How many did you make, and how did you decide how many to make?
We ordered 4,000 of them, and we based that upon full-time student registration lists. And the full-time students, there's probably more of them, but not everybody wants a handbook because they have something already to replace it. And some part-time students would take the handbooks as well. So that's what we based it on.
Yeah. Are we planning to make one next year?
You bet.
Yeah? Are you going to be involved in that at all?
Yeah, as much as I can be. Maybe I'd like to do a bit more of the production work. Now we have a format for it. It'll be a lot easier, and can concentrate on getting a bit more revenue through advertising as well.
Yeah. Thanks for joining us, Annette.
You're welcome.
Do you have a student handbook that the Student Society put out at the beginning of the year?
It's a great idea.
Yes.
Got the calendar, it's good organized there, and it's part of the tuition fees, you know, the Student Society fees.
With the little calendar?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you use it?
Yeah, actually, I do.
Do you have a handbook that the Student Society has put out?
No, I didn't receive any handbook.
Do you have one of the handbooks that the Student Society?
Yes, I do.
Yeah? Do you make full use of that?
Well, yes, I do. I look up numbers for things that I need and places to find counselors and things, and it has a lot of information, general information about the city, not necessarily about the campus, but yeah, it's very useful, yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Someone has to hold it all together, keep the troops organized, and that would be Richard Barnett. I'm here with Richard Barnett, who is the Office Resource Coordinator for the Student Society here at the Lansdowne campus. Welcome, Richard.
Hi, Jena.
Richard, what does your job involve?
Oh, that's a good question. It's a mix of all things, but really I'm the administrator in the office, doing day-to-day activities, clerical work, filing, typing, writing memos and letters, creating agendas and taking minutes for the executive and council meetings. That's sort of the general things I do.
Mm-hmm. Other than those official duties, what in your job do you find it really important?
Well, a really important stage at the moment is working on policies and procedures for the Student Society. We have a constitution set up now and bylaws, and we really need financial policies at the moment because we've been operating now for about 8 months or so, and as we're going along we're still devising all these new ways of doing everything, and we're entrenching these as policies as we go along. but we still need a lot more work in that area, so I'm helping the executive and the council to do these.
And the policies that are developed now will stay with the Student Society?
They will, unless future executive and council want to change them. But yeah, we're really trying to lay the foundations now for future executive and council members, because that's a really important stage.
Is there anything that you personally would like to see the Student Society change?
At the moment, as I said, we're really trying to evolve policy and procedures in a whole lot of areas. But we need to start getting social functions going to become more prominent on campus so that the students know that we exist. Because we're doing, as I said, we're laying a lot of foundations at the moment, but the students don't see us doing that. And I think they need to feel that they're getting value for the money that they paid at the beginning of the semester. So we're going to have to work on getting more social functions going, some entertainment for them.
Some big events similar to what happened at the beginning of the semester with Welcome Week?
Certainly, Welcome Week was a roaring success from the feedback we got, and I'm not sure that we can have anything on the scale that was, but we'd love to have maybe some pubs and some entertainment.
What do you see happening with the Student Society in the next year?
I see it continuing to evolve, but I also see us continuing the projects that were really successful, like the handbook and the newspaper, peer support, definitely Welcome Week again. And I think we'll probably develop more politically in the next year, taking stands on environmental issues and humanitarian issues.
Richard, thank you for joining us.
Thank you very much.
This year, students were introduced to Camosun's first real student newspaper. We asked some students if they'd read it.
Do you read Nexus?
Yes, I do, when I have an opportunity to pick up the issues.
Do you read Nexus?
Occasionally.
Do you read Nexus?
Yes, I do. Every 2 weeks, whenever it comes out.
Do you read the Nexus?
Yes, I do.
Yeah? Do you like it?
Yeah, I think it's quite informative of what's happening on campus and entertaining things.
Do you read the Nexus?
No, I don't.
Have you heard of the Nexus?
I don't think so. Are they the little newspapers? Or?
Yeah. Do you read the Nexus?
I've seen that too. Like I said, I haven't been here long enough. I've looked through it briefly. Maybe you could tell me more about that.
The Nexus is funded by the Student Society, and it lives in the same house.
The Richmond House, that is.
Yet Barb Risto, the managing editor, told me that ideally the Nexus will be separate from the Student Council. I'm here with Barb Risto. Hi, Barb.
Hi.
So, what is the Nexus?
Well, the Nexus is the Camosun College student newspaper. The word nexus comes from a Latin word which means a connection, like a connection between people or between a group of objects. And that's what the Nexus newspaper is trying to achieve, to be a connection between the students at Camosun, as well as pull together in some way the various campuses that Camosun College has.
Okay, and who pays for this newspaper?
The students do, out of their 4% fee levy, which is added on to their tuition. That money all goes to the Student Society, and out of that they budget a certain amount for us to do the newspaper stuff.
Okay. Who contributes to the paper?
Mainly students, but we also accept submissions from people from the community as well as faculty or staff members at Camosun College. We try and not be so myopic in our vision that, you know, everything is concentrating solely around student life, but we like to involve some issues from the community in our paper as well. So we accept, as long as it has some impact on students from Camosun, we accept all kinds of contributions.
Okay, so if somebody wanted to volunteer and do a report on some story, they could do that?
Sure.
Yeah.
We appreciate all kinds of contributions. They not only can write, but they can do photography, they can do artwork, they can help us in the production aspect. If they know a little bit of computers, they can come and help us with PageMaker, laying out the paper on the computer, that sort of thing. There's opportunities for just about anybody with any type of skill.
And if somebody wanted to volunteer, but they didn't know what to do, you could give them some ideas?
Sure, if they're wanting to write a story, I usually have some ideas in the back of my mind of stories that I'd like to see written. And so they can just come and talk to me, and I'll, give them my ideas and point them in the right direction, and off they go.
Okay, Barb, what is your position at Nexus?
Well, I'm called the managing editor, so that means that I'm supposed to be managing and I'm supposed to be editing. I find that takes up probably about 50% of my time, and the other 50% of my time is used up in doing production. Right now, we don't have a lot of volunteers involved in the designing and layout of our magazine because we're using computers, and we don't have a lot of people that are involved in, say, the paste up. So I'm spending 1 week doing more administrative stuff, and the other week, right before the issue comes out, I'm usually doing a lot of production in order to get the paper out on time.
Yeah. Is the Nexus affiliated with any other newspapers, or?
Yes, we're prospective members of the Canadian University Press, which is also known as CUP. And this is an affiliation of probably about 30 to 40 student newspapers right across Canada. So what we do is we exchange ideas, we exchange news stories. So quite often you'll see in our Nexus newspaper stories that say come from Ottawa or come from Newfoundland or come from practically anywhere that there's another student newspaper that's part of this same association.
Barb, in our survey, Jena and I found that many students at Cary Road and Interurban, they may have seen the Nexus or heard of it, but they get discouraged when they see most of the information is from Lansdowne. Is there anything you're going to do about that?
Well, that's a big problem. We're certainly aware of it, and we're trying over the next few months to make sure that we put a newspaper in the hands of every student, regardless of what campus that they come from. But it's definitely a big problem that we're encountering because we're so separated from each other on the different campuses. But we're certainly trying, and what we basically need is student involvement. I'm only one person, and all the extra manpower that we have comes from volunteers, it comes from the students themselves. So if Cary Road and Interurban want to be involved, which they should be, we'd certainly like to see people come forward to lend some support and help us get to get the Nexus distributed in those areas and make sure that students are reading it. And anybody that's interested can come and talk to me. I'd be more than happy to involve them in some way. What we're looking for is involvement.
Okay. Thanks for joining us, Barb.
You're welcome.
The Student Council is looking forward to having another car-free day with even more participation next time.
And they're working on bursaries to help needy students.
What a great idea.
Another future project is a student lounge. I think that would go over great, don't you?
Yeah. Tune in next time when Camosun Today features... Ornella, what are they going to feature?
I don't know, but it'll be a new Group A production.
I wonder if I'll be in Group A. Anyway, thanks for tuning in.
This show has been produced by students in the Applied Communication program.